there is another way, and as part of that, every year, and for as long as we've had elected representatives in Parliament, we have been presenting our alternative budgetary analysis. When the good times were going, we were told that we were complete. This is complete making up economics. It wasn't, what we didn't have economic policies. What were you thinking about? This, the good times were going to keep going. When we were saying that the tax base was unsustainable and the foundations of the state, economic foundations of the state, weren't sustainable because of reliance on the property sector, we were told that we were wrong. But now, and now we're saying there is another way forward, and this is how it is. So obviously you can't look at the Irish economic situation without, for example, just mentioning obviously the banking situation and the continuing payments to bad banks needs to stop, because that money needs to start being reinvested into our economy to benefit people. We would actually reject flat taxes that are being levied on low and income families, and as part of that we've proposed that we would to generate revenue introduce a wealth tax that would bring in the potential of €1 billion into the economy. And this week in Dublin we actually launched a job creation document, a comprehensive document looking at reinvigorating key sectors of our economy, looking at green energy, our communications infrastructure, the agri-food sector, looking at youth unemployment and what can be done to actually target that, because we've seen that some proposals that have been coming from the European Commission haven't been helpful or relevant to Ireland, and we have to look at stimulating and putting money into that ourselves. So just briefly, what would we do? We are proposing, as part of our budgetary proposals, a €13 billion investment package in job creation, which would be a four-year growth or four-year plan over in the 26 counties. And where that would come from, those funds would be from the National Pension Reserve Fund, European Investment Bank. We will be looking at maintaining the capital budget spend, which is important because we need to make sure that at this time these funds are retained to make sure that our infrastructure is there, that we are, in that case, attracting FDI, that the environment is right for businesses to grow, whether it would be multinationals or whether it be domestic and indigenous. So I'm just trying to jump around here. Many speakers mentioned earlier, the costs of having people unemployed and why investment and stimulus is critical. Now, according to government figures in Ireland, each person unemployed costs the state €20,000 directly. So that's money lost in PAYE and social welfare, and it doesn't include the indirect costs. So, as I said, that's why Sinn Féin over the last few years we have been met with huge opposition, because we have been presenting alternatives. And my personal experience, I see it every day in the chamber. You're getting abuse for being against these policies, being against, and we're being told, it's as if they're telling, if they say it enough times it'll be true, that there is no alternative. And that's why we're showing comprehensively through our two-pronged, we have our pre-budget proposals, and as I said, we have our job creation proposals. We're showing that there is an alternative, and that this has to be applied right across Europe, because as we've seen, even the IMF came out last week in Ireland and said that austerity isn't working in Ireland, that they actually had it wrong. That's a big admission there, admission of failure, that what is happening right across Europe isn't working, and that we do need to change tack. And what we're up against are large-scale conservative right-wing forces, and we need to win the hearts and minds of ordinary people who are already under the massive strain of flat taxes, cuts to welfare, the public services being decimated, and not even having access to basic public services, which is a critical thing, like education. So our alternative is not based on the logic of austerity and of cuts, and it's based on the logic that the vulnerable do need to be protected, that a cohesive society is worth fighting for, and that wealth is going to be created by workers working. And we're not going to get people working by these austerity policies, by cuts, and it is investment, and that's why we are showing that our alternatives there. And if anyone wants to access, to look at our alternative policies, to have a look at them for themselves, maybe have analysis of them, they are available on our website, our sinnfein.ie website, and I would welcome anyone to have a look at them and just to see that the alternative is possible, and that we are fighting these policies, the austerity policies, at every available opportunity.